The other method of finding skewness is by using box and whisker plot. So box here means this part, where this one will be the first quartile, this will be the median Q2, and this will give you the third quartile. We also have the whisker coming out from the box, which are these two. So the first whisker will be the minimum value and the second whisker will be the maximum value. Next, we have this dotted line. So just imagine this like fence. So this will be called the lower inner fence. And this one will be called upper inner fence. As you can see, you're gonna have the box and the whisker inside of the fences. Any data that is outside the fence will be called as outlier. And the outlier is the extreme value of the data. Say for example, I want to find the height of students in a classroom. So sometimes you may have one or more students who are very short compared to the rest of the students, or maybe someone who is very high or very tall compared to the rest of them. So those students will be called the outlier or the extreme values of the data, since the height will be outside of the fences. And this line right here will tell you the number line. So for box and whisker plot, you need to have all of these things, where everything inside the fence and the fence are compulsory. For the outlier, sometimes you may not have any outlier depending on your data. So let's try and look at this data. I want to find the minimum, the maximum, and the outlier of this data if it exists. And say that when you try and find the lower inner fence, you get 4, and when you try and find the upper inner fence, you get 30. So, plot this inside your data. When your lower inner fence is 4, note that 4 is between 3 and 5. And your upper inner fence is 30. So if you look at this data, 30 is after 28. Once you got the two fences, you can find the mean and max. Note that the mean and max will be just inside of your fences. Okay, so the mean will be after the lower inner fence and the max will be just before the upper inner fence. So mean is 5 and max is 28. Now, what about outlier? Outlier is any data that is outside your fence. So this is your fence, and hence we can see that this data tree here is outside of it, and hence the outlier is 3. So before I forget, let's try and understand the significance of this box. Here is Q1, which means P25, and Q3, which means P75. So P75 means this is the 75 percentile, and this one right here means 25 percentile. So we can see that when you do Q3 minus Q1, that will give you 75% minus 25%. And hence, the box actually tells you the position of 50% of the data. So this means that when you draw the bell-shaped curve, most of the data or 50% of the data will be around here. The rest of it will be to the left side of the box and to the right side of the box. So that's the significance of this box right here. So how do we determine the skewness of the box and whisker plot? This is Q1, this is Q2, and this is Q3. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna find the lengths between the median Q2 and the minimum as well as the maximum. So as you can see, the left tail is longer compared to the right tail. So this will be negatively skewed or skewed to the left. We can also try and draw the bell-shaped curve using this box and whisker plot by using the box as your guidance. So just imagine you have a number line. So you're just gonna bring Q1 up like this, Q2 up, and Q3 up. When two lines are quite close to each other, this is where you're gonna have the shorter tail. And if the two lines are quite far from each other, this is where you're gonna have the longer tail. So the bell shape will look like this. And hence from here itself, you can see that the length of the left tail is longer compared to the right. So we're gonna do the same thing for this one right here. If you try and find the distance between the median and the minimum and maximum, you can see that this box and whisker plot is actually symmetrical. So if you try and draw the bell-shaped curve, you're gonna bring Q1 up, Q2 will be the highest, and Q3 up. So we can see that all the lines here are of the same distance. So the bell shape will be symmetrical. Now let's do for the last box and whisker plot. Try and find the distance between the median with the minimum and the maximum. We can see that the right tail is longer compared to the left tail. Therefore, this box and whisker plot is said to be positively skewed. So if you try and draw the bell-shaped curve, you're gonna bring Q1 up, Q2 up, and it will be the highest, and then Q3 up as well. Since these two lines are quite close to each other, this will give you the shorter tail. And since these two lines are quite far from each other, this will give you the longer tail. And hence, this will give you this bell-shaped. So the right tail will be longer compared to the left. That's why this is called positively skewed. And don't forget the significance of the box. So the box tells you that 50% of the data is here. And hence the rest of the data will be to the left and the right side of this part.